Okay, so today we're going to make cheese soufflés. So we're going to start by greasing 4 ramekin dishes with butter. Once we've greased the 4 ramekin dishes, we're going to line the insides with parmesan. This is to give the soufflés a nice crust on them. So from one ramekin to the next, we just need to roll the parmesan around inside until they're completely lined inside, just like that. Okay, so we're now going to leave the 4 ramekin dishes to one side, preheat the oven to 200 degrees, and we're going to make a start on the sauce. Okay, in a pan we're going to melt 50 grams of butter, and we're going to add 50 grams of plain flour to this, and we're going to make a cheese sauce. So just like you would be making a cauliflower cheese or macaroni cheese, this is what we're going to do. So it's 50 grams, equal quantities of margarine flour into a pan, and we're going to stir that, and this is called a roux. Okay, so the flour and the marg are mixed together to a roux, just like this. Doing this in a thick bottom pan so it doesn't stick or it doesn't burn. We're going to slowly add some milk, probably about 250 mils, something like that. I'm going to add that slowly, stir that in. Okay, so the first lot of milk I've stirred in and it's gone thick again, so I'm going to add the next lot of milk. Don't want to add too much at once, so it's just a little bit at a time, and just keep stirring on a low heat until it thickens up again. Okay, so that was the next lot of milk stirred in. It's not quite as thick now, it's just a nice paste consistency. So we're going to continue to add the remainder of the milk and stir that in well. Okay, so we've stirred the sauce and there are no lumps. It's just a nice thick sauce and a dropping consistency. So I'm just going to stir that for a couple more minutes just to cook it through, and then I'm going to turn it off a heat and just leave it to one side to cool for a few minutes. Okay, so you need to add about 100 grams of cheese, grated cheese, to the sauce, and just let that melt in, give that a nice stir. Okay, so the next step is to whisk the egg whites. So we're going to separate 4 eggs, put the whites into a very, very clean mixing bowl, and we're going to whisk those up. No egg yolk, no eggshell in there at all. The egg yolks we are going to add to the sauce, so all the eggs are going to get used. So I'm going to separate the eggs, so the white goes in, but not the yolk. If you do get any eggshell in your egg whites, a good way to get them out, a little tip, is to use another eggshell. It works as a magnet, and that takes them out. Right, I'm going to whisk these up. Okay, so whisk the egg whites now, and to test if they're ready, tip the bowl upside down, and if they don't fall out, they're firm enough. If they do fall out, you need to put them back on for a bit longer. Okay, so the sauce is cooled slightly. We're going to add the egg yolks to the mixture, and we're going to season it as well. We need to do all the stirring now, because once we add the egg whites, we can only fold them in. So we're going to mix the egg yolks in. For seasoning, I'm going to put a little tip of mustard, just like you would when I make a cauliflower cheese or a macaroni cheese. I always put a little tip of mustard and some salt and pepper into the mixture and give it a good stirring up. Okay, so we're now going to add the whisked egg whites to our lovely cheesy sauce that we've got here. I'm going to do this with a metal spoon, not a wooden spoon, and this will help to keep it really light. We're not going to stir it in, we're going to fold the egg whites in very, very carefully and a little bit at a time. So we'll do this in a figure of 8. very slowly. And if I stir this too heavily, I'll knock all the air out of the egg whites and then it won't rise. So with a metal spoon again, put some more in. Okay, so it's still a bit fluffy, you can see the egg whites. I'm going to add these to the ramekins now. And then we're going to bake them in the oven for about 20 minutes. Okay, so still using your metal spoons, we're going to spoon these into our ramekins that we lined earlier with butter and parmesan. I'm going to fill them right to the top. As you can see, I'm going to scrape them to make them flat. But what I'm also going to do, I'm also going to run my little finger around the edge of the rim just to make a little indent, and this will help with a more even rise. So can you see, just around the edge. Okay, and now we're going to pop these in the oven for about 20 minutes till they've risen nicely. Okay, so here are the soufflés out of the oven. And I'll turn the camera around so you can see them. First soufflé out of the oven. Lovely and crispy on top. The nice little bounce to it. Nicely risen.
The first time in 55 years I've ever had a souffle and it's blooming lovely.
Jude, what do you think of the cheese
Good,
soufflé?
good.
That's good news then.